Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. What we're seeing right now is a seismic shift in the NFL landscape, especially for the New York Giants. There's a lot to unpack, but let's start with the latest rumors that have been circulating, and trust me, these are not just your average whispers. Dianna Russini, a well-respected NFL insider, has been dropping some heavy hints about a potential blockbuster trade involving the Houston Texans and the Giants. And this isn't just about some minor move to fill gaps. It's about a strategic play that could reshape how the Giants approach their upcoming seasons, especially with the playoffs in sight and the long-term vision in mind. The Houston Texans, currently in a bit of a transitional phase in the AFC South, are sitting at a 4-3 record, which is pretty impressive considering the rebuild they're still navigating. Their offensive line, however, has been a concern, allowing about 25 sacks so far this season. Now, that's a problem, especially when you consider the importance of protecting a young quarterback like C.J. Stroud, who's been showing flashes of brilliance but needs more stability to truly flourish. And this is where the rumors come into play. The Texans are reportedly eyeing Nico Collins, a player who's been making waves in Houston, as a key part of their future plans. The interesting part? They're apparently negotiating to send Collins to the Giants in exchange for a second-round pick in 2026 and a fifth-rounder in 2025. Why would Houston do that? Well, it's all about draft capital and building for the future, especially on the defensive line after they parted ways with mixing up their roster. The Texans are keen on retooling their defense, and acquiring more draft picks gives them flexibility. Plus, with about $10 million in cap space freed up, they can make some additional moves, possibly even focusing on extending or signing other key players like their young quarterback Stroud, whose rookie contract is wrapping up soon. It's a smart play, especially considering the NFL's salary cap constraints and the need to balance youth development with immediate impact. Now let's pivot to the Giants, because this trade, if it happens, could have enormous implications for them. The Giants are currently sitting at a 2-5 record, which on the surface doesn't look great. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of potential. Their backfield is anchored by Saquon Barkley, who's been pretty effective this season, averaging around 4 or 5 yards per carry. Barkley remains a cornerstone of the offense, a player who can change games with his explosive runs and versatility. However, the team's wide receiver situation has been a bit uncertain. They're dealing with injuries to Darius Slayton, who's questionable with an ankle injury, and Wan'Dale Robinson, who's currently on injured reserve due to a hamstring issue. That leaves the Giants looking for options to complement their offense and keep defenses honest. Enter Nico Collins. This is where things get really intriguing. Collins, a Pro Bowl alternate in 2021 out of Michigan, is a physical specimen, standing 6'4" and packing a lot of muscle. He's a yards after catch YAC monster, with a career YAC of around 200 yards and 18 touchdowns. His style of play is aggressive, and he excels in intermediate routes where his physicality can be used to break tackles and rack up extra yards. His average yards per reception is 15.2, and he's been a reliable target, recording 48 catches for 680 yards and 5 touchdowns so far this season. His YAC grade from PFF is an impressive 89.2, ranking him among the top 15 wide receivers in the league. This kind of explosiveness is exactly what the Giants need to stretch defenses and open up more space for their other receivers like Hyatt, who's been developing nicely. And it's not just about raw numbers. Collins is a guy who can be a game changer, especially in the red zone with his size and physicality. His ability to generate yards after the catch makes him a perfect fit for the Giants' offense, which has been somewhat predictable at times. With Daniel Jones at the helm, who's shown he can push the ball downfield with his arm, adding a player like Collins could elevate the entire offensive scheme. Think about the possibilities. A tandem of Collins and Hyatt stretching the field, creating mismatches, and making life difficult for opposing defenses. The Giants could see a significant boost in their EPA per pass, which has been somewhat stagnant this season. With Collins, they project an additional 950 yards, a 25% increase in yards after catch, and a boost in red zone efficiency, going from their current 48% touchdown rate to potentially over 60%. That's a game changer. And let's not forget about the impact on the defense. As the offense becomes more explosive, defenses will have to respect the Giants' passing game more, which in turn could lead to longer drives for the Giants' opponents. This means the Giants' defense can stay fresh, keep their rotations tight, and even force opponents into longer, more predictable drives. The overall effect: a reduction in touchdowns allowed from 14 down to around 10, and a more balanced, more dangerous Giants team. Now some might wonder about the timing. Why would the Texans trade Collins now, especially if he's such a key piece? Well, part of it is strategic. The Texans are motivated by cap relief, freeing up around $10 million, and they're also mindful of the looming extension for Stroud. They want to keep their options open, especially with trade deadlines approaching. Plus, they're looking to bolster their defense on the edge, acquiring draft picks that can be used to snag future stars. The Giants, on the other hand, are looking to capitalize on this opportunity, especially since their cap situation is manageable at around $5 million, and they're not in a position where they need to cut corners financially. They can absorb Collins' contract and see how he fits into their offensive scheme. So what's the broader implications of this potential trade? Well, for starters, it could be a catalyst for the Giants' entire season. If Collins arrives and performs as expected, it could elevate their win probability significantly, by up to 15%, according to some projections. Their ranking could jump from around 20th in offensive efficiency to top 10, making them serious contenders for a playoff spot. And with the NFC East being fiercely competitive, this move might just be the spark they need to challenge the Cowboys, who are currently favored at plus 1,000 to win the division. The Giants, with this added weapon, could become a true spoiler in the NFC, especially in the postseason. Looking even further ahead, these moves have implications for the Super Bowl odds. Right now, the Giants are considered long shots at plus 5,000, but with the addition of a player like Collins, those odds could improve dramatically, possibly dropping to around plus 2,200. It's a huge shift, but it makes sense. The Giants would go from being an underdog to a team that could surprise everyone, especially if their new offensive dynamic keeps defenses on their heels. The NFC, historically, has been wide open, and teams like the Giants are always lurking, waiting for the right moment to strike. And so, as we look at this potential trade, it's more than just a transaction, it's a statement. The Giants are clearly making moves to be more physical, more explosive, and more aggressive on both sides of the ball. Pairing Collins with their existing core, especially Saquon Barkley, creates a formidable tandem, one that echoes back to the 80s, when physicality and toughness defined championship teams. This isn't just about filling a roster spot. It's about building a new identity, a team that can impose its will on opponents and compete at the highest level. In conclusion, fans, what we're witnessing right now is the beginning of something exciting for the New York Giants. This potential trade, if it happens, could be the catalyst for a long-awaited resurgence. The combination of strategic draft picks, cap management, and adding a versatile physical receiver like Nico Collins could set the stage for a new era, one rooted in toughness, explosiveness, and relentless pursuit of excellence. This is a team that's not content with just competing. They're aiming to dominate, and this move might just be the key to unlocking that potential. So stay tuned, keep your eyes on the news, and get ready for a thrilling ride ahead. The Giants are not just building for today. They're building for a future where they can once again be a dominant force in the NFL, challenging for championships and making their mark in the league's history. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest New York Giants news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, New York Giants fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe this trade could be the move that finally propels the Giants back into serious playoff contention? Or do you think it's too risky? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Giants. I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Giants news and analysis. Remember, this is a team that's always been about resilience and turning setbacks into comebacks, and right now, it feels like we're on the cusp of something big. Keep the faith, keep the passion alive, and let's see where this journey takes us. Thanks for riding along, and as always, go Giants.